Hello, everyone. Well, now we had a whole week time to actually figure out what this Robotaxi day was all about. And we see all these discussions all over the place by very smart commentators. And there are basically two interpretations. One is that was a great failure. We expected all these things. We expected a concrete timeline for the launch of FSD. Didn't happen. I talked about the hard catalyst. Elon provided nothing. There was no announcements of additional cheaper models that some Wall Street analysts expected. And others said it's just a party where people hang out. It's all fluff. It was a fluffy thing. Where is the meat? So that's one side. They say it's a failure. The other side says it's a great success. It showed us the vision. It showed us how far Tesla has come. And some try to talk up all the amazing technologies that we saw, even though there is no specific meat to it. Now, I had enough time to think about it, and I listened to all the smart commentators, to Herbert and the Tesla, the Cyber Bulls, and everyone. And, it struck me that I think everyone is overlooking something. Everyone is overlooking a very interesting perspective, the most important perspective for Tesla. We are all analysts, YouTube analysts, Wall Street analysts, some are both. And we are thinking from our perspective, where's the stock going to go? Tesla's responsibility to provide us with exact dates and exact timelines, and that they didn't meet that responsibility. And we all assume one thing that I think is wrong. We assume that Tesla set up and launched this Robotaxi day for us, for the analysts, both retail and YouTube analysts and Wall Street analysts. And under that perspective, maybe it was a failure, or some say maybe it made the YouTubers happy and the retail fans, but it didn't make the Wall Street people happy. I have a very different idea here, and I think I'm right. Let's take a step back and take Elon's perspective. He was pushing for that day. And let's think about what is on his plate and what is actually important to him. Why would he even organize a day like that? We all assume he does it for us. What if that is not true? What if he organizes this entire Robotaxi event and everything we saw there for someone very different? Not you, not me, not Wall Street, maybe not even customers. Think about Elon. Elon is sitting there. He's, rallying, trying to save America right now, which is important. He, does stuff in Pennsylvania. He does SpaceX with the amazing Mechazilla catch. So he has all these things on his plate, and he has to focus on big fat waypoints and making sure the future actually happens. And if you're Elon and you're sitting there, you know how important Tesla is. You know that from a first principle, big picture perspective, Optimus and the acceleration of humanoid robots and deploying and saving basically the Western civilization by creating a giant infinite new workforce, maybe the entire world. That's important. And FSD is important. And how do you get there? What is important to get there? Well, what is important is that Tesla, the organization Tesla, understands that and aligns itself to that. And I'm always talking about the stock price. Both of us, Elon and I, know where the stock price is going. It's going to 5,000 by 2030, probably. Now, I wanted to go straight in a straight line to it, but Elon probably doesn't care how it goes there. He doesn't care if the stock drops to 100 before it goes to 5,000. Why would he care? He's not needing the stock. He's not selling it. We need it because we have our short-termish plans and cash flow optimizations. He doesn't care. What he cares about is that these milestones are being hit. And what is important for that? For him, it's much more important than informing some analyst about something. That's not his problem. The analyst has to inform themselves. For Elon, it's important that he defines, and here it comes, that he defines a target state of the world that Tesla has to move towards. Because his main problem, and the only real challenge Elon faces, is to make sure that the Tesla workforce, the Tesla engineers, and all the great minds at Tesla understand what they are supposed to do. Maybe you think that's trivial, but it's not. If you are an FSD engineer, if you're an Optimus engineer, you get lost in the weeds. Like, we need all these little movements and fingers, and we need the battery, and we need the AI, and we need all these things. But who makes sure that the entire team understands what the target state is they want to move to? And when you think about Robotaxi Day, what was it? It was a target state of a new reality. That is how it was designed. It was not designed about some details, how we get here and there, and what the battery pack of the Robotaxi looks like and how Optimus is designed. No, it was about the experience where he accelerated our journey into the future by bringing the future into the present. How? By going to Warner Studios and actually simulating the entire experience of the future. You go in the Robotaxi, people walk around, Optimus walks around, makes you little cocktails, and it's the future. Who needs that most? Elon needs it most, and Tesla needs it most. Because by setting the stakes in the ground and having the Tesla teams, look at how many engineers were there. Like there were more engineers of Tesla than visitors, basically. By having them experience it and putting the stake in the ground, suddenly you create a target reality, a target state that tells all the Tesla engineers if they have any questions what they're supposed to do in the big scheme of things, they are supposed to make the Robotaxi day not a day, but everyday reality. So now they know, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to deliver the promise of Optimus making you cocktails and walking around and having conversations with you with all these people that we now see on video all over the place. Make sure this happens. That's your target state. That is what you have to work towards. The same with the Robotaxi, and the same with the combination of the Robotaxi and Optimus. Now, if you're a leader of any large organization or even mid-size or smaller organization, you understand how important it is to define these first principle target states and not just theoretically define them, but bring them to life so that everyone experiences it and there is no doubt what we need to achieve. By creating this target state, you have a direct on video, on YouTube comparison to this target state in reality. You can point to Optimus and say, Optimus can't do that. What the critics all say, like, oh, this was fake news, right? We have these remote operators that control Optimus. That's the whole point. By doing that, you can show, well, as long as Optimus cannot do what we showed, what we made real at Robotaxi Day, we are not there. I think the entire Robotaxi Day was an internal operation. It was an internal objective to be met. It meant that Elon sees now a straight line from here to that target reality. And by making that target reality real for one night, putting it into video, the entire Tesla organization understands, okay, now we get it. We need to get there. Simple to understand, simple to measure. Are we here? Are we not here? It creates urgency, expectations of the public, but also a clearly outlined reality. I think it's genius. And it tells us that Elon thinks we are now ready to go for a straight line development effort into that reality. Everything else would be very embarrassing. So I think that is the real objective here. Not everything is about you and me and Wall Street. This is an internal job of alignment, of mission alignment and target state definition. And I think that is very, very smart of Elon and shows us they're ready to rumble. Now, for me, it's very exciting because, I'm launching the Civilization series here where I use Tesla and Elon and SpaceX and all these great things as examples that we can actually build amazing new things. But we can only do so if you're not reactive little frogs. I use the frog example where the frogs sit in, a pot of water that gets slowly cooked and heated, and they at no point understand it's too hot because it's gradually increasing the heat, and then they get cooked. I think that's what's happening to most companies. They're getting cooked and try to be reactive, and it is happening to us as a civilization. We're going down, but we're getting gradually down, and no one really understands it's time to do something. I think it is time to do something, and we have to learn from the best, which is Elon right now, how you get out of that reactive state and the slowly warming pot and say, wait a moment, let's take a step back, big picture, first principles. Are things fundamentally flawed and dumb that are happening right now? And do we have to fundamentally rethink it? The answer is, of course, yes. And if we do that, how do we derive the first principles and then take the first principles to define a target state, like the Robotaxi Day, like Mechazilla catching the rocket. These are target states. Once you have them defined and really burned into the brains and minds of the smart engineers, they know, okay, now I get it. I need to get there. We need to do the same thing with our civilization. Understand the target state, independent of the current reality, but close enough to our capabilities that we can go there in a straight line once we define it. So again, thanks to Elon, genius as always. We will learn from that, and I hope you stay tuned. There's more coming. See you soon.